We have a lot of buddies in the industry, not even just in mobile home parks, but in real estate more broadly, where they're going through a really hard time. They've gotten capital calls and they've been wiped out of deals and have lost all of their money. And so just really grateful for the asset class.
This is our world, it's our life and our livelihood, and we really care about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll share a fun story too. Somebody that I look up to, Ken McElroy, I got to talk to him on the phone. He took a moment to say like, hey, congratulations on the success, but also on taking action. And that's the difference. You don't take action and hit the first roadblock and stop.
No.
Like our structure on the first 2 or 3 deals was garbage.
Garbage.
We didn't understand.
We didn't make any money.
Making money.
We made zero.
We gave all the money back to the LPs.
Yeah.
On the outside, it's like, oh, they must be just lucky, you know? And it's like, oh man, if you only knew.
We were lucky to bump into Rich Dad Poor Dad 16, 17 years
We
ago.
were very lucky.
And then find mobile home parks as an asset class, but then choosing to focus on them and be persistent and consistent in the market. That's the goal. Welcome to the first ever team debrief of 2025 mobile home park purchases with the CashFlow Quest and the crew here, Ty Eldridge, Ben Schuster, my sister, Jennifer Purcell. And we're grateful to be here, having a fun time wrapping up this year's stories, the deals we purchased. We wanted to bring a fun kind of real talk story, and we'll hit the high level points and have fun. So 2025, I'm particularly grateful for the deal flow this year, the team, the energy, interest rates holding. And so it's been a good all around year. And as we go into Thanksgiving, this is Thanksgiving week. Wednesday, tomorrow is Thanksgiving Thursday. So we figured we'd share some fun, grateful moments throughout the year. So we kicked it off kind of going into planning from 2024 to 2025. We had a deal in escrow called Casa, and it's in Wiley, Texas. That one was underway through the end of 2024. And we lucked out because we closed it at the end of January, and then Trump passed the tax bill and we ended up winning on that because then we get to do the cost segregation study and the tax planning. And
I think we slid by like 14 days. It was like went into effect on the 15th and we closed the 29th. So it was like, woo, we made it.
That's a better be lucky than good, because who knew how that was all going to shake down on Trump's side.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And we were excited about that deal because Q3 we closed in Anna, and then we tie up another Texas deal, and we had this like really great Texas momentum. Second deal, worked with Dave Z on that one, and acquisitions was funny because we ended up our crew didn't scope the sewer mains that we sent out, the DD team, and so like towards the end of the due diligence, they send out Rooter to do the DD at that moment, and they scope all the lines. We ended up actually, for the record, we sent another professional team out there to do it again. But in that moment for our DD window, they find this like backed up line, and it was like, it's all falling apart. The deal has bad sewer, which it didn't. And so it was like a whole thing. Dave Z sent a crew out there. We got it all fixed right away. And so that was like a funny moment on that acquisition that I remember laughing about.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, the sewer was full of water, and we had a low trust vendor that we initially hired. And, you know, when you go into new markets, you have to find new vendors. And so that was one of those learning moments where it's like, we're just going to have to get another opinion. And then it ended up being a big nothing burger where like you can't scope a sewer when it's full of water. Like you have to understand it and get it unclogged. And, you know,
it had like a wipes backup on like one row that like was like throwing up major red flags.
Is that what caused the water? Like, why was there standing water in there?
Well, so if you have a clogged sewer main, so all the laterals from all the homes go into a main,
right? And
then the main gets clogged, you have water all uphill.
That's a shitty problem.
You know what's kind of crazy though is it's murky water, but when there's that much water, you can see, but it's water. So like he's like running around in a submarine kind of, and he's seeing things, but
so
why
do you
is
have to
it full
like
of
jet
water?
it? Like,
so you go in with either a jet or something, you know,
snake.
that you can,
Yeah.
a snake that has some rigidity, and you
To
push it to where it rolls downhill and goes into the city main, or you grab a hold of it,
Sure.
depending on what it is. It's actually a lot of times it's diapers. It's
Wipes.
kids' clothes that they flush. It's stuff.
funny things.
I've seen like one of the funniest ones I saw was a family, you know, they made some menudo and then they left it on the stove. And what happens is overnight it cools and becomes gelatinous. And then they just dump the whole thing down the drain and it just stopped like a whole run of houses. And so it was a false alarm. But like when you're buying a deal, we're like looking at, infrastructure. This is going to be a long-term hold, where we have investor capital that we're trying to protect. And so we're checking infrastructure, and it just was, like you said, a low confidence vendor that threw up like a major red, like, don't buy the deal. It's failing.
The guy literally said we were going to have to replace the whole sewer.
Yeah.
Like the entire system.
Yeah.
Now it's full of water. You're going to have to replace the whole thing.
You just got to watch out for the viscosity of the menudo and the gelatin.
This guy doesn't know anything about menudo.
I'm like, bro, that's soup in there, dude. Let's start over.
So we got through.
And what was cool about that too is it started off the year too, being in deal flow, closing a deal early in 2026. When I first joined you guys, it was like, okay, deal flow starts in the spring and it ends in the fall, and that's it. But to have something in the winter of closing really kind of kicked off this year, and we had an amazing year. But I think that was a crucial piece of having the team spooled up. And then, of course, our investor base kind of fired up to then close the deal early and then keep that momentum through the year. It's kind of what kicked us off. So it was a great deal. And it was 6% starting cash on cash investor. Love that piece of it. And it's actually a really beautiful deal too.
It's a nice clean deal. We were just out there again, and there's going to be a brand new nice gas station store and everything right next door. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's an up and coming market.
Collecting great, it's doing great. So it's a $14 million property, 87 units. We paid about $162,000 a space.
But we inherited a loan book.
So we inherited $2.5 million worth of loans. Yep. So then you got to subtract that down. So, but yeah, it was a 130, 140K a unit. Rents in that market are roughly 1,000-ish plus, with utilities. Mm-hmm. And so that was just generating, as everyone knows in manufactured housing, it's hard to build scale in a given market, especially a really primo, growth oriented market like Dallas or Phoenix. So each deal you can get around 100 units, it helps you build scale in the team and all that.
Yep.
So yeah, debt held up, interest rates. We went for a ride on that deal with interest rates. When we first started, the treasuries were like 3.8. They were at a low. And then by the time we closed it, it was like 4.8. And then in January, we kind of got through that last month, all the ruckus with Trump and, the election. And then finally rates came down, treasuries came down.
Yeah.
And we were able to lock it at
that was really I know, because I was looking at the history of the 10-year yield over the last year. And yeah, like you said, it peaked to 4.8. And I just remember the volatility of the beginning of the year. The
treasury was wild.
With the tariffs, right?
October through January of last year, the treasury was running a whole point.
I know. And it was moving quickly.
Nobody knew what was going on.
Oh, it was a mess. It was a total nightmare to be trying to get a loan done,
Yeah. And
we were talking about this at the time, on our panel, and it was are they going to try to reshore all of the manufacturing jobs?
Yeah.
No one knew. It was kind of going into the tariffs.
Might do it. Trump's driving the tariff story hard, it was a whole thing.
I was just going to say, one thing I've been grateful for recently is the stability of the 10-year treasury. It's hovered between 4 and 4.2 for the last 4 months. And I just remember sitting we have a weekly pipeline on Tuesdays where the entire team gets together and we talk about, deals we're in contract on, due diligence, money raising, pipeline of future looking deals. And I just remember every pipeline meeting, it's can we rate lock? Are we ready to rate lock? Cause I'm I can't, it was just a crazy time with just the volatility of the 10-year. And I haven't had that thought pop up in 4 months, which has been awesome. It's nice not to have to check the 10-year every single day and freak out. Cause it's been, now it's at 4 right now. It's 4 flat.
And it's been up and down, up and down a quarter of a point is fine. Reasonable, but those 1% swings.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you're in contract on something and it shoots up to a 4.8. But when you got into contract, we were 4.2. That's that's a big jump.
Yeah. That swings the needle a lot.
It was 3.7 and change it.
Oh, that's right.
And so our rate in the end only went up a half, maybe 65 bips.
Yeah.
But from when we started, But it was like, we were nervous going through that whole thing. And I'm like, you know what? At this point, let's just wait until closing because we might as well.
And we got lucky.
And it was just like the peak of that height of the treasury yield went going up, started to come back down to reality.
Yep.
But yeah, so then kind of going through that deal, we moved into, obviously that was our second deal and the only 2 deals we really did last year. It was a slower year. And I've heard from multiple angles that it wasn't just us. Like there wasn't a lot of transactions occurring in 23 and 24. So this year the year started out a little hotter, but in Chicago's Manufactured Housing Institute, MHI does a national communities conference. And so a lot more owners go, and it's kind of like you get to hang out with owners and operators and you can kind of compare notes. And so that was fun to go. Jen and I went to Chicago last year. So one of the cocktail parties after dinner, I'm talking to a Texas owner, and I'll give Clay a shout out. He's probably not going to listen to this, but anyways, he ended up being the seller, and we're in a bar in Chicago. I'm at like the downtown bar that everyone goes to, in middle of downtown Chicago. And it was a really cool, like old school bar. Remember we walk in and these servers are running around giving you crap drinks. But anyways, me and Clay are in there and we're strategizing on, I'm like, I can't get to your value. Like there's just no way. I'm sorry.
On a new deal that you were looking at.
We have another deal. Yeah. So we had Centerpoint, in discussion, and he's kicking around selling it because it was one of his early deals that he had bought in the space. So we're in the bar in Chicago chatting about how to get like for me to be motivated, for us to like have returns and look at it seriously at the pricing that he was trying to get to. And I'm like, the only way is if you get rents up to my level that like I want to underwrite against and be able to size my loan on. And that would help. Like that'll get me there more than likely. And so anyways, we hashed out this plan in this downtown Chicago bar. And he implemented his side of it. We just kind of had a handshake verbal until we got through the end of the year. And he enacted the rent increase and a couple of utility things he was going to do, collected it. They were able to collect it for 3 months, and we were able to tie it up and get that one going into the first to second quarter of 2025.
And it was a deal worth doing that on because it's, Clay did a nice job kind of maintaining and uplifting that community too. And it was a nice community with big. How many total sites is that? Over 100?
167.
Yeah. So good size, good quality, totally worth kind of making that negotiation because,
167 unit clean mobile home parks in DFW on city services.
Yeah. It like checked all the boxes. It really was a good deal to fight for.
I think it's 98% occupied and the only vacancy are brand new houses. So like, it's a great asset. We're really happy to get a park that size. It was a huge win for us.
Yeah, definitely.
So that rounded out a quick kind of portfolio build out in DFW for 2025. We now have 350 units. And so the team, like that's where you get some operational scale. You can have a few people on payroll over there running around, taking care of the park, selling homes, working on the park. So it's a big deal.
Our market strategy is 350 unit minimum for a supervisor and a team of 3. And so that's kind of like the entry level market. So it's perfect because now we have a team lead. We have multiple people driving, inspecting properties, somebody on the phones. Like it's a whole system now where everybody's collaborating. And that's where we start to, obviously lower expenses and be more effective in achieving the numbers that we're putting in our pro forma.
Yeah. And then we were talking about breaking into the Dallas-Fort Worth market for like 2 years since I started back in early 2023. We're like, okay, what's the next major market that we want to build scale into? And we zone in on Dallas-Fort Worth. And it took 2 years to then finally get a deal. And then now that we're there, you have brokers, bringing you off market deals. And so that's the importance of getting into a market, building some scale for your side on the team aspect and running a market. But then also for Blake's side, it's like, now we're in this market. We understand that the collections are real, where the rent growth is, where we want to play in. And then you start getting these calls from brokers and other owners like, hey, we heard you bought this one down the street. Want to take a look at mine? So you got to get in the game. Like
you got
that's
to put
the
your
way.
money where your mouth is.
Yes.
I want to go to Dallas. I want to go to Dallas. It's like until you buy something, man, you're not in.
No.
Yeah.
And
And it was
don't take you serious.
It's kind of hard. Like you have to be jumped into the gang. Like we've talked about this before, but Anna, we went after Anna and we got turned down even though we were the highest offer because we didn't have deals in Texas.
Correct.
And that's
a good point.
The higher offer ended up falling out and then we were able to pick it up. And so you kind of have to like earn it. You have to fight your way into a new market.
You have to become like the logical buyer in a way. If there's 3 or 4 people that are roughly at the same price and you're the seller, I get it.
Yeah.
Like who's the for sure close? And so they fumbled the Anna Crossing deal that we bought in Anna and we were there. And that was our entry point, in 2024. So that it's a great point.
Yeah. A fun story with Centerpoint is like 2 weeks after we close it, a little bit, we learned this through the process, but the backstory on Centerpoint is back in the day, it was a public school. Mm-hmm. And then it became a trailer park, right? And so we've got it running and somebody set their house on fire because they left their stove on when they were making dinner. And the fire department comes out and they put the blaze out. And when they're doing that, they're connected to a primary main to the fire hydrant in order to shut the house down and get the fire down. And they turned on and off the fire hydrant 3 different times, and it ended up breaking the hydrant line. Well, it became a whole confusing mess, and we're like brand new, just in there. Our staff and team is new. And
don't have vendors yet.
And
that we have
in Texas, you have to have a special license to work on this. The marshals there, the city's there. They're like, you need a special license to even touch that. You got to pull a permit. It was a whole thing. It took us a really long time, and it made a swimming pool in that street.
We built pools underground with water. Like we could have jumped in one dive hole and popped out another in the middle of our street. I mean, it's interesting, but like not many mobile home parks have high pressure fire suppression lines through your property.
Well, it did because it was a public school. It's a super
I know, but
weird.
That's a total fluke thing. Because like even in DD, you're looking around, you're like, systems look good. Okay, there's a hydrant.
Right.
Oh yeah, no big deal, right? Well, that's on property, and then we've learned this from Woodland, from an apartment asset we manage. It's really interesting, but when you change the pressure in those old pipes, because they're high pressure, you pull pressure out because you open the valve and you let water out, that pipe crumbles. Basically, it's like holding because of pressure. And then when you pull pressure now, you start stirring the pot on the structural integrity of that pipe.
Yep.
And very few plumbing companies want to touch that. They're usually specialty. In fact, I think the group that we had came from Houston. Like we had to have a specialty person, and we made calls to other operators. We knew nobody had a guy.
Me and Ted got in a whole fight about it, and in the end, I was the wrong party in that they did such a wide cast on vendor search that we found one, and they got it done for probably half or less than I thought it was going to cost. So like that was a huge, awesome team win. I mean, looking back on the sewer main, then this water break. I mean, you have to have a vendor list, which is also a reason to be cognizant of like, as we scale, we have a constant conversation about like, where do we go to next? Because we need attorneys, we need fire suppression repairmen, we need vendors that are like plumber, electrical guys that can actually show up and not completely gouge us and not rob us. Like there's so much to that. Like you got to have relationships that are meaningful in order to do it all.
We actually make it a point in our teams, especially if they're in the same area. So like if we have multiple markets in Phoenix or Tucson, each team has to have its own separate vendors list, because number one, you obviously are going to like not be dependent on one vendor for multiple markets, but also if someone's in a pinch, like they're really in a tough spot and they reach up through upper management, then you can go, okay, we're going to borrow a vendor from, a city over or whatever and utilize that. But that way it's not, it kind of builds out a deeper list of vendors, because you need a few. Sometimes plumber 1, 2, and 3 isn't available, and someone's coming from across town to help you out. So yeah, vendor management's a big deal.
So we closed on Centerpoint, and then we go back into Phoenix after a dry spell in Phoenix. The last time we closed the deal in Phoenix was Royal Glen back at the end of 2023. And so Phoenix was just quiet for a year and a half.
We were basically the only sale in 2024. We sold a seniors Mesa mobile home park in 2024, just because it was like the market was starving for an asset to be unearthed and for sale in Phoenix. So we decided to move on from something we'd had. And so we saw, and it was true, we sold it for like a 4 cap.
Yep.
And it's
Shout out to Colby.
So when you come full circle to Phoenix, a smaller portfolio, it was 3 deals, 230 units. We were able to get the sellers to commit to sell. And we called it the Villa Trio portfolio. They rebranded a few deals to Villa Sierra, Villa de Paz, and Villa. What's the last one?
Villa Cielo, Villa de Paz, Villa Sierra.
There you go.
And Villa Cielo, for people who have been in the Phoenix game for a long time, is Green Acres and Southern Acres.
There we go.
But I do want to put a little asterisk on this deal because this is a special moment in our company's history. This is the first deal we purchased from an institution. Mm-hmm. So when the whole time I've been in the industry, it's been like, darn those institutions, they bought another deal and no one will ever get a chance at it again unless they're institutional. And I feel like either things have gotten more relaxed, which I don't think is the case, or we have now elevated to where we're being considered that caliber of buyer. And I think it was a really special moment collectively.
Yeah, because it was off market, right? I mean, it was
off market broker relationship that has that institutional operator equity, group that he knows and transacts. They help them buy a lot. And then now there's a cycle in these funds and the institutional equity that they do need to sell some stuff to show some wins on the board and show that their thesis is accurate. Whether they sell a lot or a little, you never know. Yeah. And so it's been fun because, I'd say for our career, we've been beat by them. Yeah. Way more than we've been able to get traction on the other side, either win deals against them or be able to buy. We always thought that they'd never come back.
Exactly. We thought they would go into the portfolio in the institution and never come out because they don't need to. They'll recapture or recap internally and stuff. And
they love recaps too.
Hey, I love recaps. Anytime we can recap, let's do it.
Yeah. So they recap fund to fund or whatever, institution equity bucket to another institution equity bucket. And so it was cool to get some good deals back from the institutional realm.
Great location, great deals. We're having fun working on projects right now on renovating common area spaces on those 3 right now. And they're great deals. So we were happy to peel those off from that institutional player.
Yeah, it was 227 sites in Phoenix, 97% occupied. Rents were like 30-40% below market. Mm-hmm. They're awesome deals, right? And then I was just so fired up to be back in Phoenix. Just one of my favorite markets because of what we did back in 2023, and it's been 2 years, seeing that business plan be executed to a T, almost like too good, where we bought some of these deals that were similar to like the Villa Trio, where they're full and they're under-rented. And and they're, I wouldn't say mismanaged, but they were mismanaged. But just undercapitalized as well. And like we go in and really updo or reimagine the clubhouse, the common area space, the signage, that front entry, which Jen does so well. And then we increase our rent bumps, and we always budget that we're going to lose some of the park. And back in 2023, when we did these, the West Phoenix portfolio with Purple Sage and Country Villa, we didn't lose anyone, right? And we're like, oh my goodness, like this is unreal. And you're in full collections and people are tearing up, the residents, when they're seeing the new clubhouse, and you're driving that value. And I think that thesis coming alive provides a lot of conviction to me as I talk to our investors all the time. And I'm telling them our business plan, what we're doing, and we know the risk associated. And so when you kind of have seen it and you see that it works, it provides a lot of confidence in your ability to continue to rinse and repeat. Mm-hmm. And so it was an awesome deal. And to put 227 units on the board and one purchase price and giving investors diversification across 3 separate deals all in one LLC was pretty cool.
And we all went out as a group and checked them out because we like to test the market and feel for it, right? And so it was, Southern Phoenix, we're like, okay, well, let's go look at it. And these in-place rents were like high 6s, low 700s. And we go there, and 2 of the parks are next door to each other. And on each side of the park was a luxury Class A multifamily deal. Mm-hmm. Across the street is a nursery, and 1 block is like a beautiful golf course with houses on there. And it was like, you could just feel that, it was a pocket of nice area. And you just know that if you look at, rent comparative data, you see that whole area is in the 8s to 9s. So you knew it was under rented, and we're going to do a lot of great things. So it was a wonderful buy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So
And Jen does a good job of capturing like the stewardship and celebrating what's to be celebrated. And, that's an important piece of that, being able to obtain the rents,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fun. The one Tide was just talking about specifically where it has a Class A apartment and a nursery, and it's kind of like in the middle of all these really nice other properties. That one, it felt like it wasn't really maintained like the others. And there's so much potential there. So that one's going to be really fun because it's like there's a big giant grass area where we can create like this kid play area and bring some life to some common area spaces there. Which then I think we joke in the office that like the Class A apartment balconies who are looking at this mobile home park next door will be like, oh, thank you. It's not like this dirt lot with weeds anymore. It's like, we're helping the community and helping the people next door. And like everybody wins from all of this.
Yeah, it's not a parking lot, right?
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
We're like Magnolia for trailer parks.
yeah, well, I mean, like that deal, that deal specifically, it had this whole dumpster area. And in the dumpster area was a little congregation of homeless people that had set up tents on our property right now that it's closed. And so we've gotten rid of the dumpsters. Mm-hmm. We've done a deal with Republic Service, and we've brought in individual trash cans for the tenants. The homeless are now gone. We're talking about redoing that area and making it more of an amenitized option. We're redoing the whole playground area. And so for sure, like you're looking into that, and it's like before you looked over the fence and there's homeless encampment and dumpsters overflowing. Now it's like that's gone. It's clean already, and I mean we just closed the deal. So
that's so cool. I didn't even know that. I know exactly what spot you're talking about because we were all kind of driving slow and we're like, what should we do here? That's
What's
cool.
going on back here? My favorite thing I saw on that tour was that van that had a sticker that said, "I love crack horse."
That's the type of stuff, guys.
That's
we
the bottom.
clean up.
That's that trench of crap that we end up kicking out and fixing.
Yeah, we're going to get rid of that. And, if you're a family and you're living in that park, we're already getting an overwhelming feedback from our tenants that are like, wow, we're so happy you guys are here. You're present. You're doing stuff. We had a taco truck this month. We sent out flyers from our design team with Jen and Jaden here in the office showing all of the improvements that we're going to do. And people are pumped. Like, rent went up. We got a couple calls, really not a lot of negative feedback. The question is, well, what are you guys doing? And they know because we're there and we're doing it. Like it's happening. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
I remember just now that you brought up that bumper sticker, which I almost wish you did it, but we actually drove.
This is a real candid conversation, real stuff.
We actually drove that with a client. Our client, Will Dryden, flew us out there in his Vision Jet. And he was driving around. And I remember that, seeing all that. And you're like there with a client. And you're like, don't worry. When I first drove a deal, I had the same thought, but wait till you see this next year in 2 years, and like rethinking space is really cool about real estate. That's what I love. So
I remember when Ben was brand spanking new as our first drive, and we were touring a park we were in escrow on, and he's like, there's so many violations here. We need a retrade. And we're like, we're not retrading nothing. And you're like, are you serious? Call the broker. We want a price reduction. And it's like
nothing a roll off dumpster can't fix. Okay.
Yeah. So real quick, I just want to make sure we cover it in this conversation. So while this is all going on, we have a few dispositions. Okay. Yeah. And so was it this deal that had the rolls from the dispos?
This one specifically had Desorama.
Okay.
Center Point had.
Desorama went into Center Point.
Desorama went into Center Point.
Correct.
Okay. Yep. Because that one was our doozy.
So our dispositions this year was we had funds, as we talked about. We made that transaction 2024. Funds rolled into the beginning of the year through Desorama. And then we also did a portfolio trade, Catalina Vista, 5-star, and Desert Sky. And right now we're talking a lot about acquisitions and loan stuff. But ultimately, there was a lot of capital formation stuff on the back end that you guys worked through. That was really some magic.
We became you can preach to this, but I'll tee you up. We became pretty proficient in tenant in common setups on ownerships and how to do that and bring in exchanges, partial exchanges from us, from deals that we've sold. It was the Tucson deals that went into different aspects of this year. So Desorama member got kicked into closing this year.
Yes.
Which is why we could do Center Point.
Right.
Because of the challenging dynamic we had with a title issue and a crazy resident. But yeah.
Yes, delayed the close on Desert.
There's always something.
There's always
on.
some sort of hurdle we're trying to get through.
So we had to tee up all of the different tick structures.
Yeah, going back slightly, we did our first 5 tick structure, tenant in common structure this year. And that one was laughable now because going through it was really stressful. We had 2 reverses, a forward exchange, an exchange that we had, and a new money fresh entity too, because it was a large enough purchase. Where how much money did we raise on that deal? I forget off the top of my head right now.
Probably.
Which one, Villa Trio?
No, Centerpoint.
Centerpoint.
I think it was like 16 or so million.
60 million. Yeah, I think I'm right.
16 or 17.
Yep.
And so the 2 reverses, we learned that we don't love reverses. They're a little challenging. And so structure wise in total, if you zoomed out, we learned how to do tenant in common structure, forward exchanges better, reverse exchanges, help single investors who want to sell a condo or a home and be their own single member owner of a tick piece of a partnership too. So there's so many different ways to skin that cat. And we've learned this year in particular, we really learned what we like and what we don't like about those types of structures.
And how much money
and how much
costs to play around with those structures.
And we're still learning that after you do those tenant in common structures and hold them for a period of time, now we're talking about rolling that up, which means if you have 5 tenant in common, you bring it in basically into one cumulative clean ownership format. And that costs more money too, with lenders and legal teams and internal teams. So
you really have to forward plan it all. And in the end, I don't think it's going to cost as much as like the initial sticker shock when we're kicking this around with lender. But you have to pre-plan it and get approvals on lender side on the front end.
Right.
So that you don't end up having to pay extra money.
Which we're doing actively actually right now. We've added different language into our loan docs, which then waives certain fees to then further roll up. So it was really fun because, you can talk about this stuff all you want. Sometimes you just have to do it and experience it and read the forms and okay, shoot, wait, do we have all the right forms? How many different ones do I need? And it's 3 or 4 or 5 different forms sometimes for one deal. And so it's it was fun. It was very complex, but without doing it, we wouldn't have learned.
Yep.
And now we can sit all of us here confidently and be like, oh yeah, we got it. No problem.
Well, now we can value engineer this thing.
Yes.
In the future to be oh, hey, lender, this is what's going to happen. And that's what, see, we're not going to pay for any of that.
No.
And we can totally run the game board on how the structure and shave so much cost. And we still haven't even completed those roll-ups. And we're in the process of doing the first batch from 2023. And 2022 deals that we did. And so we're learning a lot, but I think we'll end up figuring out a way to create a nice clean budget for intaking these exchange clients in the future. But the price threshold, just as an update, is probably closer to $2 million if you're coming in with an exchange, and we don't do reverses any longer.
I remember in the pipeline, it was one of the deals, everyone's going back and forth on all the different moving parts. And people were getting confused in the meeting and we need a spreadsheet for all of this. It was so complicated.
And Morgan in our office did an excellent job creating this spreadsheet of all the different variables and what forms we have, what forms we don't have, what monies have been collected, what deals have been closed. Because the reverse, you had to make sure that they had the cash because they haven't closed the property they're selling yet. So it was a lot of fun.
And I know you guys probably covered 1031 exchanges on a previous podcast, but it's a stressful time. So even though you're talking about this, you have money at risk that's live.
Yeah.
And it's wild to see how much work goes into it. I think what I'm really proud of is, having the team and being able to not have our clients feel that. And us handling all this. I know we're sitting here open, we're candid now. And we had a client that was at an event the other night and was I listened to that podcast. You were talking about me laughing,
He looked straight at me
I was
too.
But the important part of this, right? The important part of this is that you didn't feel that way. He's no, not at all. Right.
Which I'm pat ourselves on the back because we did our job. That the service we like to provide. And I feel super grateful to have the opportunity to learn that and experience it, to know. But I just am like proud of us and the team to like be able to provide that service to somebody, because it's a stressful,
tremendous value.
It's a daunting task to be in exchanges.
Sell something and execute the 1031 from A to Z. It's a lot.
And doing it correctly too.
Yeah.
Like, we're not cutting corners. Like these are bulletproof exchange, tick allocation, percentage, knowing we go in and calculate back into like, what'd you sell for? What's your basis? How much purchase price? What's your mortgage? Making sure you have enough allocation so that you actually do a clean 1031 exchange. Because what some people miss is that just because you do a 1031 exchange doesn't mean that you avoid all boot or tax, right? You have to do a clean 1031 exchange. You have to make sure you have equal or greater allocation on purchase price on the mortgage boot. And we run all those calculations and have those upfront conversations. And so, it is a lot. I enjoy it because we always are learning a lot. And like, that's the fun part is like really getting into the details and understanding like how to do this correctly with attorneys, with CPAs. Cause then you feel like, oh wow, like I've learned a real skill, versus just talking about it on a podcast. Like I think a lot of people they just talk about these hypothetical tax strategies or whatever it is, putting deals together, but like to actually do it and do it correctly. It's like, no, I actually understand it intimately and like what to watch out for. And, it's like, and sometimes you got to break a couple things along the way. Like we've talked about, then you actually learn, right? Like no harm, no foul, nothing happened, but you have to actually do stuff and
it's like kind of the legal costs that Blake was just saying a few minutes ago, like, it might cost us a few bucks, but like, okay, fine. We're paying for our education there and we won't forget again because like that happened and we'll learn. And now we can advise better and we know the intimate details of how that actually logistically functions and works. Yep. So it's fun.
Our PhDs in trailer park management has been very expensive. Costs.
The key is the underlying assets worth it.
For sure.
Like
100%.
That's, the money's going to be made. This is like, we're making the sausage here and it's not a perfect science. And there's so many different variables in legal and then, watch out for the loan docs because it might cost you some money if you do anything on the change of the legal. Yes. But now it's fun is we're getting to that point where we're getting professional at it. But then also I have the ability to tap on lenders legal and be like, guys, this is aggressive. Come on.
So what you're saying is just because you have a pig doesn't mean you can make sausage.
Well, it doesn't mean it's going to be good sausage coming out necessarily.
And we do have to just quick touch because I think that this is an interesting dynamic of like where in the game we're doing business. And if you're, considering doing this on your own, there's all kinds of wrenches that can be thrown in the mix. That situation where this deal ended up getting pushed, we had somebody who was not a resident, who had a family member pass in the park. They were a professional insurance litigator, basically. They just made insurance claims and most people just bent over and did it. But we were in this and they did they brought like multiple lawsuits that all frivolous and they clouded title. And that's what they did. And we had to go through a full process. I think that they resulted in major fines for that person. I think they might have even been up against some jail time. It was one of those things we weren't pursuing very heavily, but we weren't.
We had a Trump moment. We either like figure out how to pay this guy, but the guy was completely crazy, unreasonable. Yeah, watch out for people filing Liz Pendens on your title. It's a whole thing and it's a whole scam to just basically, if you have the right insurance, the insurance companies will pay them out. Right. Or you can bond for title to fight it, but it's a mess. And so we decided to lock horns and push the guy back and just extend escrow and finish and on principle fight back.
Yeah. And the bottom line is they were frivolous lawsuits. There was not a single one we lost. We were like a little confused because it was taking so much time. And Blake and I hopped on with Scott Ballou, our attorney, our LTA attorney. And, Blake's like, are we losing any of these fights? And he's like, put it this way. We're like Mike Tyson and we've knocked him out like 10 times. And like, it's just waiting for it to clear through the courts, like undefeated. He hasn't landed a punch. These guys he's just a jokester, And so it was one of those moments where we were laughing on the phone, but yeah, you never know what's going to happen. You think you've got, the money in the hand and you get some weird fluke and That's what comes from being in the game, whether it's on the operations side, the capital formation side, the lender side. There's so much moving in doing these transactions.
To piggyback also on that, Blake, you formed a really good relationship with the buyer that we had on that particular deal. And so luckily he was okay with, extending the purchase of the property out and being flexible on timing there, because that's not always the case either. So I feel like there were a lot of things like that that just really
it drug out so far that I was like, hey man, I'm sorry, but I'll pull it out of escrow.
Yeah.
And then it's like, hey, we've spent enough money on this now. We're all pregnant with this deal. Like there's no backing out on anybody's circumstance. So then
we all really wanted it to come together.
If I tried to be nice and just be like, hey, we'll come out with this deal another time and market it again. And then he basically was forced to threaten to sue us if we pulled out of escrow. I'm like, oh man, this is a mess. Yeah. All starts with this pain in the butt non-resident that inherited his mom's home, not clean.
Yep.
It's just, you can get caught up. So doing it and learning all those things, it didn't really put anything at risk other than that transaction at the moment, and just kicked it into 2025. But then the deal came around to do that, so it's such a dance in a storm. You really, I feel like that's where, I feel like we learn the most is when you go through those whole deals of the buy, the sale, the whole dynamic, but you never know. And I truly feel like a cowboy when you decide to sell something and you don't have the deal in escrow that you're going to be buying with the exchange. Man, but you earn some serious respect through the whole industry with the brokers and everybody. It's fun.
Yeah.
So then we landed in a great deal in Dallas with the exchange proceeds, and it's all part of it.
Yeah. 100%. And so if just going back to, Phoenix, we're in July, we closed Villa Trio, and then the Phoenix opened up, and then Paradise View came about, right? And so you want to chat a little bit about Paradise View?
So Paradise View is a mobile home park that is 83 separate residential lots for mobile when it was built and designed as a mobile home park. So it's the cleanest little segmented cul-de-sac, cute mobile home park in North Phoenix. I've been making offers and building relationships to try to obtain that deal for probably 8+ years.
When I found an email trail, we looked and it backdated to late 16 that you made an offer.
That's
on
9
that
years.
We were, and then 17, there was early 17, there was correspondence, but it had sold. It was going to somebody else at that point. We were trying to convince
the sellers collectively, whoever else was maybe making offers.
Yeah.
But I remember making, I think, a $4 million offer.
Probably.
And then it was a 5, and then it's and the income's obviously coming
for 10,
but we ended up buying it for 9.25.
Yeah.
So when I first started and I was on the acquisitions side, the first 3 deals we talked about were the Burning Man deals, which is Purple Sage Country Villa in Paradise View.
They like to go to Burning Man,
and so that. It was a full circle. We've now bought all of those deals from my first time in the bullpen.
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, because Paradise View is a unique deal. It's if you've seen it from aerial, it's a lot of cul-de-sacs.
It feels like a single family housing development.
Like a little track.
All the parks and all the ones that we've driven over the years, that one really feels like track homes. It's a good layout with all the cul-de-sacs and stuff. It's very homey.
So I just got back from a tour. I just drove all of our properties in Phoenix and Tucson. I hit, 24 parks in 4 days. And this park specifically feels special to me. And there's a couple of things. I think we were really positioned, and you can talk more about this on the acquisitions front, where we know that a lot of institutional buyers don't want to place homes. Mm-hmm. And there's a large contingency in this property that requires home installation. But because we know the market so well, it's just going to be a home run. These homes are going to be set. They're probably going to sell for a profit quickly. That's the way I'm looking at it. And location wise, it's really in an affluent area. If you're driving up the hill, you turn right. If you go up and over the crest of the hill, you're in a private gated community where homes sell in the millions.
They're big, nice homes.
And we bought this. Ultimately your price per space on this property was $123,000. I just feel like it's going to be a home run. Yeah. I really like this park. Really excited about it.
I think that's even total cost with our dollars for execution.
Yeah. Because I think it's like 110, 105. And I think 110 is what we bought it per pad on purchase price. And then if you add in the CapEx, you're in at 125. We're going to set double wides here. They almost like have views. I mean, we golfed that resort one time at a mobile home park event, and we were looking up at the homes, like, these are beautiful homes. Let's go on Zillow, see how much these things cost. And then right over that hill on the crest is this mobile home park. And so there's a huge value add opportunity. And that's kind of where we pivoted a little bit. And this was like a big discussion point, is that with Paradise View and then the deal that we just wrapped up and we're going to close in the next couple of weeks, Phoenix West, they're stabilized deals in that they're full, they're in Phoenix, but they're under rented, and there's so much value creation that we decided to pivot a little bit and go 5-year fixed rate debt on it, because we didn't want to size the loan for 10 years when we were going to create so much value in the first, call it 3 years. And so we kind of pivoted a little bit from the 10-year fixed rate debt that we were doing to doing 5-year fixed rate debt, with the intent that we're going to execute on these business plans, bring in more equity. I mean, we brought in a lot of equity on these deals, execute on the business plan, cash out refi to investors, resize on a 10-year fixed rate loan where you can get 70% loan to value. And then you've generated so much additional value there, and then continue to hold more long-term. Which I was pretty excited about. I think investors too, like, as I was telling people, like, hey, we're doing 5-year debt on this and cash out refi. I think that got people excited, and that it's a little bit different of the business model that we were doing, and seeing the capital event before year 10 was exciting to folks. And so that was cool too.
It's just too much revenue growth that's going to occur in the first 5 years, to where you really don't want to lock it down as a longer term asset management play at that point. You got to get it stabilized and then take out another 10-year loan at that point.
This deal's current in-place rents is $665. It's in a market where Class A is probably $2,000. If we're going to 50%, you look at the market. I mean, this is a property that really is going to go to $900 to $1,000. Today would be a fair price there. Right. And when you see the park, it's like, obviously, this is a beautiful community. And I think we're going to bring in a huge value to the current residents that live there, because right now it's like 30% vacant. There's just these empty lots. They've got RVs. Nothing against RVs, but like, it's obviously not the same as there's a beautiful house with a yard and somebody who bought
vacant. They got, there are some vacant pads, but very few, but it's a lot of RVs.
But when I'm referencing a vacant pad, I mean that there's no physical house there. There is an RV plugged in.
Yep.
I think any vacant pad, if maybe there's one, has an RV plugged into it paying rent.
Yeah.
But it's like,
which is silly.
Why? It's just, like, if you're not a dealer, and I could see how, like, if you owned them forever and then you could just get an RV to come and plug in, like, I get it. And then there was I was telling Ben the other day that there's a mortgage crisis moment in the early 2000s where they had adjustable rates on mobile homes. And so that's how that ended up with vacancy.
Huge repos.
Is a lot of repo, and I used to buy repos, and I used to buy repo trailers. And so, like, there's a lot that happens. Well, then you're this mom and pop, and you don't have reserves to the level that you'd need to set 26 homes
or capability. It's hard. It's a project.
Yeah.
So that's how it happens, but it's the opportunity for us.
Exactly.
And think about that deal with a third, basically 26 out of 83 of fresh homes.
It's going to change the whole.
That's what I'm saying.
It's going to be beautiful.
I know.
It's really going to be a winner.
New streets.
Yep.
The park up on that hill. Did you take a hike up on that hill?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That one home, they did the dog park on a beautiful, like, view lot.
That's
going to have. We got to put, like, a home up there with a view deck porch. Yes. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Remember those ones at Cottonwood that had the Sedona views where you'd go up and then come around onto your deck and you could see Sedona?
Pretty.
That's what you do there.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Awesome deal. Another thing that's really exciting, and this comes from, like, being in the game for a long time, is our staffing infrastructure there is, like, on another level.
Yes.
The quality control supervisor who is in Paradise Views right now has helped me install over 100 homes. So, like, this is somebody who knows what they're doing. Like, this is not their first rodeo.
Yeah.
We're going to go in with the team that we've done, like our install team in this area, third party vendor, we've installed hundreds of homes with. So it's like, They're going to go in. It's going to be super smooth. We know it's in an affluent area. We're going to have people qualify super easy, and we're going to fill that park, and it's going to be a grand slam. I'm really excited about that deal. Like, of all the parks, I love trailer parks and I love our parks. This one is, I think, going to be special for us.
One of the things that was tricky about this deal in particular,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Because as he was talking, it just came up. One of the things that was unique about this deal, for me at least, is that we sold out on the raise in a day. So 24 hours after we launched it, we launched the webinar, and I went out. And
to this day, Ben gets a ton of shit. Everyone wanted a pound of that deal, and we could only give them an ounce.
Yeah. I can see why.
Yeah, and so
Well,
one
and
of
we
the
had an
challenges that
exchange,
I'm like starting to run up against too, I mean, as we continue to grow and perform, and really it's performance and being able to perform and continue to show that with investors, you just get a little bit more popular.
And so it sold out pretty quick. And then I had some investors, some very important, strategic, good friends, but are some of our large investors that reached out to me and were upset because they couldn't get the allocation that they'd like. And so that was a real learning point for me as well, because usually I'm the person that's hounding on the phone like, hey, we got this deal, talking about it. But then when the tables turn and you become the prize, you really start to realize that the allocation piece and making sure that your crew, the people with you for a long time, that you're giving them the heads up early. And so that was a whole new reframe for me, in that, I got chewed out, and that's part of it, but then, you adjust and you make some allocation changes and you give them what they want. But you also got to be real too at the same time. It's first come, first serve.
Well, there just wasn't that much in pure dollars.
No, there wasn't.
It was only a $9 million deal. We only needed 3.5 for fresh cash.
Yeah.
And so it just was like, I think it was more of there just wasn't that much to go around.
Correct.
It was like a delicious dessert. And it's like, it was like one of those, pans
Creme brulees is like this big.
And it's gone. It just like went so fast. It's like, we can't just make more of these.
Exactly.
It's like the 2-year-old that has the big fit because the cookies are gone, but they don't get it.
But like, it kind of felt like, I was, as I'm talking to investors, like Villa Trio, and then you go into Paradise View, and then we get the Phoenix West deal too. And I'm like, as I'm talking to people, and sometimes it's hard for me. It's like, these are my favorite types of deals. And I'm saying you should you should allocate to this. And I kind of felt like I was being a cheesy salesman in the sense that I was kind of saying the same story, but like we just had this moment of like run. And I know that these, from my experiences, that these types of deals don't come around often, but we kind of got this unique kind of 6-month time period where we got deal after deal after deal, which are like, these are home runs. These are, these are just right down the middle. These are right in our sweet spot. Mm-hmm. And so it was fun to wrap up the year with those types of deals and that momentum. And it just made in total, we bought $88 million worth of real estate this year.
When you throw in Mariposa.
90 million. Wow. $90 million.
91.5.
Wow.
91.5.
Our goal was 100, so we almost got to 100.
Once we had momentum, we were like, let's go to 100 million. But
we actually, to put a fun spin on it too, we had another deal that we decided to opt out of for various reasons, but we would have bridged the 100 million.
I like the deal.
It's not always worth the squeeze. You got to slow down and make sure the deal's good. And to this day, we've never had a capital call, and we want to keep that. And so it's been fun.
Exactly.
Really good year.
Exactly. You don't want to get over your skis, and performance is key. And, very thankful. Thanksgiving's tomorrow. Just very thankful for our investors. That trust us. And I'm thankful for the fact that we're able to perform during this time. We have a lot of buddies in the industry, not even just in mobile home parks, but in real estate more broadly, where they're going through a really hard time. I have investors that just don't invest with us. They invest in other groups, and they've gotten capital calls, and they've been wiped out of deals and have lost all of their money. And so just really grateful for the asset class, for the team, that continues to show up and perform and treats these deals as if, which they are, like your family and friends are in these deals, which for our case is the case.
That's the case.
It's not like we're out branding and like bringing in random dollars. Like it's meaningful to us.
We're in these deals. Parents are in these deals. This is our world, is our life and our livelihood. And we really care about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's been nice to have that type of performance while, this year, but then, on the deal flow side, but then also still have the portfolio continue to perform at a top level. I think we had like 8 properties this year that had distribution increases. Probably going to have this similar, if not greater, next year. So like that trajectory of moving up, and it was an awesome year. So great that you start to like think about, okay, what's on the horizon now for next year. I mean, I know Blake and I are talking a lot about that. It's like what markets we want to be in, what type of deals, from sizing, from a risk profile, risk return profile, where we want to allocate capital into the new year. And it's, I guess, into next year. And it's a really awesome time. I feel like, we've talked about this. I feel like we're just scratching the surface of what the opportunities are going to be, how this business is going to continue to grow, and couldn't be more grateful to work alongside you guys to do that, because it makes it really fun and meaningful.
Yeah, likewise.
To do it. And then to all the investors that trust us, we added 60 new families this year, 60 new investors. We're almost at 400 investors, which is incredible.
A huge blessing. I'd be remiss if I didn't say, like, we feel truly blessed for the investors, for the team that wants to work with us in the field, helping with the hard, heavy lift, all the projects. Like, it's a lot of work. And you don't always deal with fun stuff. And so to the team out there, we really appreciate you guys and all of your help. We feel truly honored to be entrusted. Like, when we get the deal, let's say, awarded to us, and we get the opportunity to buy it, it's a blessing to be entrusted with that stewardship of these deals, because we can't take them with us. Like, we're all going to die someday. And so we do the best job we can to make them as nice as we can. And we got to remember that. And so then we can all have fun, make money along the way, and get the rewarded for that. But then we're offering value. And so it's a huge God-given blessing across the whole board.
Well said.
Investors, the team, the deals,
the residents.
The residents are huge. And so we love our residents. And so it's all, we focus here heavy on the investment side. But we truly try to offer something that's unparalleled on the value.
Which is where, we're have good teams, which provide good service. We elevate the environments. We put in new homes, which elevates, if the community is elevated and we're setting new inventory, then the older inventory elevates in value. So it's, we really do try to be good stewards and have it be a win-win-win. So
yeah, I think last year we did eight clubhouses. This year we're on track for like 9 going.
Yeah.
And we're bringing that. And next year, like, one of our big goals we're talking in our 7 forces is we really want to push resident events, making sure in our updated budgets for 2026, we have a lot more funding for cool things. We want to make sure quarterly we have, taco trucks and pizza trucks and bringing coffee and doing fun things, and making it fun. And like, I just got off the phone. They in Mesa, they did deliveries to residents of turkeys, and there's just all kinds of fun stuff happening. Our teams are growing, getting better. We buy this Villa Trio and we promote from within. So the supervisor running those parks, she's been with us for a couple years. She's been in the mobile home park industry for 5 years. Now she's running 3 parks with the team, and she's super excited. She's gung ho. So there's a lot of really cool stuff happening here at Comfort.
Yeah. Lots to be grateful for.
Just as you think about, as we kind of self-reflect, one of our good friends and dear clients, he's always like, yeah, Ben, everyone's going to say you guys are just lucky, and I know we say that too, but hopefully this conversation shows how much work goes into all of this. And on the outside, it's like, oh, they must be just lucky, and it's like, oh man, if you only knew.
We were lucky to bump into Rich Dad Poor Dad 16, 17 years ago.
We were very lucky.
And then find mobile home parks as an asset class, but then choosing to focus on them and be persistent and consistent in the market. That's the gold.
It is.
If everyone that wants to make money super fast overnight, like, you got to chase deals for 8-10 years. It doesn't just happen overnight.
I feel like we're just catching momentum and we're about to be in our 17th year doing this.
And I gotta stop you real quick and retract what you just mentioned. You think it was luck that you found Rich Dad Poor Dad? You had to read the book. You went to the seminar. Was it free?
No.
Did you have the money?
Yeah. No.
Oh, well, no, I know, I get it.
Yeah, you had to dig.
We worked for it, for sure.
I'll say the blessing and the lucky moment was to find and commit to mobile home parks, not that we weren't working towards something. We were always working towards passive income as like
goal.
We decided that if we didn't have a lot of money to start with, which we didn't, we borrowed the initial $26,000 to do this class, which you could argue is overvalued. You're welcome, Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
That was
a long time ago for $26K.
Yeah.
But so we borrowed that from my grandma. God bless her. She's gone now, but she gave us the money, like that's cool. But then to commit to the space and what's funny is, just for a side note, you guys will get this. The coach of the class, his last name was Stewart.
Okay.
Yeah. He was a Florida guy. So it was one of those owners that's of that big family. But, doing it back then and locking into the space, and we just wanted to be, okay, if we don't have the millions of dollars to begin with, then let's be the value we're bringing to the table is putting the deals together and operating them well.
And we cut our teeth on hard deals.
And it wasn't easy to learn how to do that, let alone scale that. And it's been a fun labor of love now.
It really is. Yeah. We've learned a lot going from that 28 space park with dirt roads and a well to where we are now.
Those wells take so much salt, you wouldn't believe it.
Oh my God.
From 28 units to we acquired 560 units this year in just 1 year. So yeah. It only took 17 years.
Hey, it's the overnight success.
Yeah, you guys are lucky.
I'll share a fun story too. I talked to somebody that I look up to is Ken McElroy, and he was just on the Iced Coffee Hour if you haven't seen it. But I got to talk to him on the phone for probably 45 minutes.
Yeah.
A couple of 2-3 months ago. And he took a moment to say like, hey, congratulations on the success, but also on taking the action.
Yeah.
And then being persistent with it. And that's the difference. Like, you don't take action and hit the first roadblock and stop.
No.
Like, our structure on the first 2 or 3 deals was garbage.
Garbage.
We didn't understand.
We didn't make
Making money.
We made zero.
We gave all the money back to the LPs, and they're happy with us.
Yeah.
We didn't steal it. It's like, hey man, here's all the money. We learned. We didn't, it didn't cost us anything technically because everyone made money on those. It was blood, sweat, and tears to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But, to talk to one of my mentors now, who's, he was the multifamily apartment operator, and he still is, for Robert Kiyosaki. So when Robert had his educational business, and when he exited or whatever that looked like for him, he put all the money with Ken McElroy. And so it was cool to kind of get pointers, and he said, just keep going, we asked him about how to raise money better and just do all those things.
I think there's a quote right here, actually.
Yes. So that's a Tony Robbins quote. So the path to success is to make massive determined action.
Yeah.
And so,
that's,
congrats guys, Air Fives. Cause it's been a consistent, long-term determined action.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I guess we could wrap up there. It's been a great year.
Great year.
Appreciate you guys.
Hell of a year.
Thank you, Jonathan, running, everyone behind the scenes. Sam, we appreciate you guys editing this year and doing all this stuff. And it's going to be a quick wrap up to the end of the year, I'm sure. After Thanksgiving, it goes fast. So,
yeah.
Have some turkey, mashed potatoes.
Yes. Yeah. Grateful for everybody who listens, and ditto to everything you guys said too. Super grateful to be here.
A lot more to come in 2026.
We're
just getting started.
That's right.
No, we're closing up. It's been a good run. We'll see you guys later. We're getting into credit card debt.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for joining us for our the first ever 2025 deal debrief with the crew. So hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon, and we'll be back in touch, I'm sure, in December for something fun, and then we'll kick off 2026. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.